Hello, ladies and jelly spoons. This is Robert speaking, and I'm excited today, as indeed all YouTubers should be all the time, and indeed everyone on social media. But in my case, I'm excited because over the past few days, I think I've invented a new spread. I call it the endlessly self-generating spread. It's a spread with 26,000 variations according to my computer, and it goes something like this. Now, you know, as well as I do, that spreads are all about what the positions of the cards mean. Like, for example, horseshoe spread. There's the horseshoe spread, ladies and gentlemen. So we have past influences, present influences, future influences, the advice card, the environment, the obstacles, and the probable outcome that we're moving towards if we don't take any corrective action, okay? And, we could have, for example, that's past, that's present, that's future. Or relationship, we could have person A, person B, the relationship. Or issue and advice, we could have the issue, the advice, the other bit of advice. The third bit of advice. Now, a few weeks ago, I kind of adapted something from Yolanda Robinson's book, and I came up with a thing called the heptagram spread. I kind of stole it from Yolanda Robinson, even though in her case it wasn't really a divination spread. And moving on from there, I now give you this, my self-generating spread. Okay, here we go. Step number 1. Take the major arcana cards out of a pack of tarot cards. Put the other cards to one side. Shuffle the major arcana cards. And deal out 5 major arcana cards in the pattern I shall give you. Now, you could be creative. You could deal out a different number. You could deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 22. But I recommend maximum 5 so that you don't have too many cards on the table. Let's go for it. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is the spread. It's not the reading, it's the spread. Now, we don't want any reversals for this, so let's turn the reversed ones round. And so instead of saying past, present, future, environment, obstacles, the meaning of these positions is now determined by the card that's sitting there. And, you can be as creative as you want. You can use these cards in the way that they make sense to you. So I'll tell you how I would do this particular fall of 5 cards. In the first position, we've got the Tower. For me, that's a purging. So this position for me will be what needs to be driven out or purged in this situation, in this question. Here, Justice. I would say that position is going to mean, what do I need to think about? What do I need to bring my intellectual powers to bear on? Here, we have the Fool. So I would say for that one, risk. I would say risk. What is the risk involved in this situation, or how does risk play a role in this situation or this question? Hermit. Okay, what does my inner truth have to say about this if I go inside? Emperor. Okay, I would say, okay, what are the rules that I have to be careful to obey in this situation? Now, however you interpret these major arcanas to create your spread, bear in mind that you are creating a spread, so make your decisions. They don't have to be final in terms of forever, but for today, those are our decisions for this spread. Now, ladies and gentlemen, take another pack of tarot cards. Ask your question, decide what your issue is that you want to concentrate on, and shuffle your lovely cards. And then each of these positions is where we're going to put a card, okay? Okay, so in this case, our purging has something to do with the Ace of Pentacles. What we have to put our mind to is about, the Ten of Cups. Risk. Well, the Knight of Rods seems to be bringing risk into the question here. Our inner truth seems to be something about being quick or getting a move on. And as for the rules, that's got something to do with the Seven of Swords, with stealth or tricksiness. Now, I'm not going to try to interpret that particular reading because that would be a whole other event. But I'd like to tell you about a reading I did last night, and that'll demonstrate how I think this spread can work. And hopefully it'll inspire you to try it for yourself. Okay, so here's the spread I was working on last night, and this is when I began to think that this was really quite an interesting and creative spread. I'm afraid to say I asked the tarot why I was bored. I think it's quite good to be honest with oneself, and I was feeling bored. Maybe because I've been a bit ill. You get bored when you're ill. I'm not proud of being bored, but I was bored. And boredom is maybe the search for some kind of creativity. So I said, why am I bored? And here's what I got. So the spread that came down, my first layer, is position 1, Sun. Where do I feel safe? Position 2, Devil. What are the subconscious factors? These are the way I set it up. Lovers, I thought that would mean what is the fundamental decision that needs to be made here. Magician, I thought, okay, where's my energy source? Papes, okay, and what is hidden? So I distinguish between hidden and subconscious. That's hidden in myself, and I think maybe that's hidden in life or the course of events that's carrying on in my life. So if you get two cards that might have slightly similar meanings, just before you proceed with the spread, just be clear in your mind as to how you're going to work with them. And I find this very interesting. Look, where do I feel safe? Well, defeat, this feeling of defeat. And I find that's quite a good description of depression. One feels safe in the idea that it's all crap, in the idea that there is no optimistic solution, that there is no future. But let's move on from that. Let's see what wisdom we have elsewhere. Subconscious factors. Well, King of Rods. The King of Rods is he's an egomaniac, isn't he? And he wants to go out and conquer. He's Julius Caesar. He wants to conquer Britain with an army of soldiers behind him. So I think maybe subconsciously, I'm still ambitious. I still have drive. I still want a bit of ego gratification in my life. I would like to feel that I've achieved things and got somewhere. That's my subconscious thing there. And if I don't acknowledge that lurking subconscious egomaniac, maybe I'm going to be miserable. What fundamental decision do I have to make? Well, I drew that card and then I drew a second card for clarity. But they're both rather similar. We've got a full belly card here, and we've got letting go of poverty here. So it seems that I need to fundamentally decide or acknowledge that hard times are behind me financially, and I can have my dinner on the table and I'm not going to starve. I have to make that decision. I have to leave that behind, that poverty consciousness. This I found very interesting, and this is why you need to use two decks, because we've got the Sun twice. Here, the position is, where do I get my energy, the Battleur? And the Sun has come in reversed. Well, the Sun for me is safety. Okay, reversal of safety, no safety. So I get my energy from leaving safety behind and getting out of the walled garden where everything's safe and you're sort of infantilized. You're a child in the garden, and that gives you energy. So I needed to have the Sun twice on the table because it's functioning in different ways. Here I had the safety of depression, and here I had the energy of no safety. Fantastic. And the last position, what hidden factor is there? Well, here there's someone with an offer. So it sounds to me that in my life, in my fate, there is going to be someone helpful who is going to come from the outside, offering some sort of deal or assistance or energy which will, put paid to my boredom. So that's me reading my infinitely self-generating spread. clearly you can have as many or as few as you want. And I'd love to hear from you if you try this out, if it works for you, if you find out any perfect ways of doing it that really kick ass. I'm Robert Farrar. At least I am Robert Farrar's hands. This is Tea and Tara, and I'll see you next week with more of this stuff. Bye.